moving around, working my light.
And the light is a problem. I have just, sorry I was late. I heard Santa was going to be coming by the house. So we were outside on Santa watch. Santa came by in the fire truck.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. By your house?
Yes, they came by our house. They try to come by everybody who they know has children that'll be excited to see them.
Aww.
And they do different neighborhoods every night. And then my children wanted Waterman's, so I had to go pick up supper.
Aw, I love it. You're a good mom.
I think good mothers actually cook.
Wow.
Yeah. Can't do it all. You can't do it all.
Like, Mom, your stuffing was terrible. I was like, well, that was stovetop.
I was about to say, I've never made stuffing. I'm so impressed that that's even a thing.
It was stovetop. Well, he loves stuffing. My middle one, I don't know, something about stuffing. He just loves it.
Somebody brought me stuffing, which was great. I like it. I mean, I like everything. That's half my problem. Oh, Wendy liked your oxygen. So Seton Tucker is here tonight with us doing a little update on the Murdaughs. And on Sunday night, she was on the Oxygen channel. Tell us about that special. How do you think it went?
Okay, so it's really weird to watch yourself on TV. Uncomfortable. But, I mean, like, I was really happy with the edits.
You sounded very professional.
I know. I was surprised.
I'm surprised.
I was happy about that. I did feel like I sounded like a complete idiot. So again, I was happy about that. I would say the editing was good. I think it was nice to work with those people. And, you know, some of the criticism, like most of it was all positive, but some people said, you know, there's nothing new and breaking, but it's kind of meant for someone new to the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you have to think about that. You know, all of us who have followed the story all along, we know everything.
Right.
I might have been bored if I watched it myself, but, you know.
But it's kind of a refresher. And like you said, there'll be people tuning in tonight that are like, what are we talking about? And it's awfully hard to be like, well, we're in like season 4.
Yeah. I mean, the Murdaugh saga has so many tentacles, and they had to remind me so many times when I was filming, like, oh yeah, say that name and say that, and don't say he, you know, because you automatically assume, because we assume I know everything that everyone else does, but they don't.
So the last time we talked, you were going to have, I think, an attorney on your show. You were recording a couple episodes this week, and we were going to hear about this bond.
Yeah. So yesterday on our episode that we just released, we had a reporter from WSAV in Savannah who attended the virtual bond hearing, and he was fantastic. And then we recorded again today with a professor who specializes in money laundering. So, but we should talk about the bond hearing.
Okay, talk about the bond hearing. And that episode is up, right? I haven't listened
to it. That episode is up.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it was just released last night. So Alex bond has been set at $7 million, which is like really one of the highest bonds ever for the state of South Carolina. So that's a pretty big deal. There's two sides. I talked to John Snyder, who's our legal analyst today, and I was like, seems really high. Like, is it going to hold water? And he said, well, you know, there's still so much coming, because there was another lawyer, and he thinks it does. Like he says, and a lot of people were even outraged that he got bond at all. But there was he hasn't been accused of any violent crimes. And there was another lawyer in Lexington, South Carolina, who was accused of defrauding clients out of like $5 million, which the current charges for Alex money stuff is like 6+.
Right.
So, you know, in the same, I mean, once you get past a couple $1 million, it's probably all the same.
Right.
He only received, he went to jail, but his bond was $100,000, where he received $7 million.
Wow. Right.
Now, I don't think that's fair, but there's kind of two camps, and like, I don't know what to believe. Like, some people think it's outrageous that he got bond altogether. And then other people think, well, here's other people with similar crimes and a nonviolent crime that have gotten much less. So, I mean, there's definitely two camps to it.
I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on television. To me, one of the concerns would be that he would harm himself. Now, I don't know if that honestly goes into it, but if something happens to him, or we know he's tried, his lawyer said, oh, he wouldn't harm himself. Well, hello, he said that he did, tried to kill himself, whatever. But then we might never know a lot of things that we really need to find out.
Actually, I think that's the biggest question. Like, to me, if he gets out, I think there's a good chance he might harm himself. And then we're going to be dealing with a situation that no one gets resolution.
Right.
So, I mean, it's probably safest for him to remain in jail. Now, he says he's a good person. He's not in the same mental state he was when he, had this botched murder-suicide plot situation. He says he's not. He's exercising. He's like, he's all of these things. But again, I think the big question, like what you said, is he could be let out and then he harms himself and then no one gets resolution.
So Janie's asked this question, which I think has been the big question here. How does he get out when he is also being held on no bond in another case in another jurisdiction?
Okay, so yes, I've spoken with John Snyder today, and we're hoping to have him on again next week to kind of give some clarification. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I talk about law stuff on the podcast, but what he said is, okay, so there were these two bond hearings that Judge Newman denied bond. There were more charges, and then the state decided that it actually should not be, although Judge Newman is in charge of all things Murdaugh, the bond should fall under the judge who has jurisdiction over the state grand jury. So that is kind of how that played out. Whether that's right or not, I mean, John seemed to think, okay, because South Carolina doesn't want to have, they don't want to have to make this like, okay, we're going to litigate this and we're going to have rulings on this. So this might be an easy way out of that. Now, I do feel like the $7 million bond that's pretty significant. I mean, his lawyers are saying, no way, he can't come up with this money. We'll see if all of a sudden, John actually said, there's possible Christmas Eve, he might be out. He might find a bail bondsman who moves in with him and decides that, yes, I will make sure you make it to your bond hearings and I'll give you $7 million. But
normally you just have to put up 10%. So normally, not that 700,000 is, not a hill of beans, but in this case, they're saying no, it has to be the full amount. Is that it?
No, it has to be the full $7 million. And his lawyer said, no way, it's like tantamount to no bond because he does not have that money. But I think there was some misperception that Judge Newman's rulings were going to be those were going to be like, okay, well, he can't get out on bond anyway because he has these Judge Newman rulings. And those are saying he's in for that. But no, I think that actually this other judge supersedes. I could be wrong, but from my understanding right now, the Judge Lee's ruling supersedes Judge Newman.
Okay. So Marcy just said, so what charges does he not have bond on?
He has bond on everything. I think that's my understanding. Now, I could be wrong, but it's a $7 million bond, and I don't think it's likely that he can come up with that. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot, and who's going to take a gamble on somebody who has all these charges against them? I mean, I don't have any friends who can lend me $7 million.
Not even $1 million.
Nope, not even like more than 1,000.
Yeah. They might have to pull out their credit card to do that.
I know.
But they would for you.
Maybe.
So he's stuck basically in jail.
Unless it comes up with $7 million. I mean, we're going to see in the next week. It's in the next week and a half. Either it's going to happen before Christmas or it's not going to happen before Christmas. I mean, we don't know. Maybe somebody's going to pony up and loan him $7 million.
Erica said maybe cousin Eddie can help.
I've seen that before. Maybe cousin, but I mean, again, I think cousin Eddie, he's in some hot water. He did some stuff, but I don't know that cousin Eddie has $7 million.
Right.
And I don't know anybody has $7 million.
Okay, Marcy, they're clarifying that question. In the other jurisdiction, he has charges with no bond. What charges were those? Do you know?
Okay, those were the charges related to the Satterfield claim. So
and he's just agreed to pay the Satterfields $4 million. Where's he getting that?
This is my, so he has agreed to a what is it called? He's agreed that he owes this.
Okay.
He agreed that I could tell you the name of it if I look at my notes. I can't see, but he has agreed that he owes this money, like summary judgment. Okay. Like, yeah, I agree I owe this money, but that doesn't mean he has the money to pay. He agrees he owes this money, but I don't think he necessarily agrees he has the money to pay this money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, all my understanding, now it's been a very chaotic week with this. My understanding is all of this is under one thing, and that Judge Lee's ruling trumps everything.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, I don't see him getting out. I mean, I could be wrong, but that $7 million is a lot. I mean, anyway.
No, I don't think. I mean, again, unless he comes out with $7 million or there's a bail bondsman. Now, John Snyder, when I talked to him earlier tonight, he's like, no, he's probably contacting bail bondsman right now, trying to find somebody to lend him $7 million. And it's possible. Maybe somebody will. I mean, he's going to be under electronic monitoring. I mean, he can't leave the state. He's going to go through, alcohol or drug abuse and,
right.
Psychological treatment and all this stuff. I mean,
can he have visitors right now in jail?
I don't know the answer to that question.
That'd be interesting.
Well, and you know what he said during his bond hearing? He's like, I have this outpouring of support. And we're like, all right, who is this outpouring of support that you have? Because at his, the one, we'll talk about this in a minute, but the bond hearings that were televised with Judge Newman, there were no family members there.
Right. I remember that.
Like, not one, or nobody in his corner. So I don't know where this outpouring of support is coming from. I mean, yesterday was a virtual bond hearing. There was a lot of controversy about it because the first two bond hearings were, they were live and you could stream them, and it was all there for you to see.
Uh-huh.
The Judge Lee decided, nope, it's going to be old school. We're not going to allow cameras. We're not going to allow audio recordings, all this. So it's just going to, you have to take notes, old school style, for anyone who attended.
Right.
So, and she said anybody who took videos or audios would be in contempt of court. So everyone had to. And so I talked to John about this tonight, and he said, you know what? It's a judge by judge decision.
Mm-hmm.
She had every right. There were a lot of questions about that, but she had every right to decide that it wouldn't be, that it wouldn't be streamed and there wouldn't be video. And I think that it might have been a decision because there's been a lot of talk about the fact that there's been so much publicity with this case that It's not possible for a fair trial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that the judge thought, well, all right, I'm not going to put more videos or sound clips on news.
Screw it up more.
Right, screw it up more, which I think is fair. I mean, and it was also a question. So Alec did speak out. He did give a statement at the bond hearing. But, I don't think that if it had been a live,
Taylor, that's what I was thinking.
If it had been a live, streaming, his attorneys probably would not have let him give this because, and that's actually probably good lawyering because you would say, all right, I don't want my client who you could take the sound clip of him doing this and this to appear on this broadcast news TV, this podcast, anything, it's probably smart that it's just a written out thing that nobody could take audio. Now, that being said, there's a transcript of this, and it's not like this is all being hidden. There is a transcript of it that is court record.
I would bet my pinky toe that somebody recorded that yesterday.
Yep, I would think so. But
I mean, you can have a recorder that is the size of the battery in my Swatch watch in your coat pocket. I mean, anyway.
It's probably, and it will probably come out. As we've heard, there's also been all this controversy about some leaked footage or mediation Mallory Beach stuff. So
Right. Yeah, somebody, even if they just were using it so they could take notes. So Dana says, where in the world is Buster? It's like, where in the world is Waldo? What's Buster up to?
Okay, they actually answered some of these questions at the bond hearing.
Oh, good.
So Alec apologized to Buster and said the weight of the world is on his shoulder. And apparently he got somewhat emotional when he was apologizing to family, not so much when he's apologizing to victims, but said Buster is trying to be a lawyer. And I'd heard this from a source that he's trying to get back to law school.
Buster got kicked out of law school for cheating is what I understood.
Well, that was the rumor. That was the word on the street. But apparently he is. I don't know if that's true or not. That was a rumor. I can't verify that.
Well, I heard it from someone that was in the law class.
I heard it from multiple people but again, he's apparently attempting to be a lawyer again.
Oh, good.
And also have it from an extremely good source that I feel very confident saying he is dating a girl in Rock Hill who is a young attorney. So, and during the bond hearing, Alec said he, apologized to his Buster's girlfriend, who he regards as a daughter and is a young attorney in South Carolina, which confirms what I had heard before, that she's a lawyer who lives in Rock Hill. But again, he also confirmed that Buster is going back to law school. And I had multiple people reach out to me that there was a law, I think it was a CLE something in Atlanta before, and Buster was there, as were all the lawyers from PMPD. So he seems like he's aligning himself with lawyers.
Well, his Fanny wasn't he in Las Vegas when his dad had that first hearing? After the shooting?
He was in Las Vegas, and we've really tried to steer clear of really saying too much about Buster, because the only thing he's really been accused of is stealing or giving his younger brother his fake ID, which, I mean, many of us have done that.
Oh yeah, no, that's not anything. I just think
he wasn't there at the hearing to support his dad.
Yeah, not even that. I just think you would have, and he's got, clearly they have a lot of family members. They have Maggie's family. He has these uncles. It's not like it's a lone child, no cousins, for somebody to say, you know what, let's just be on the down low right now.
No, it does seem odd that you would do that. Now, that being said, so yes, the optics of that were horrible.
If it were my nephew or my son, I'd be like,
anything, I'd be like, and the same thing when I ran into Maggie and Paul shortly after at a South Carolina game, after the murders, after Mallory Beach had been murdered. I was like, why are you, it's the next year. Why, you're supposed to still be in Beaufort. Why are you at a South Carolina game? It felt wrong and weird. And
yeah.
So,
yeah.
But then the other side of the coin is that I guess the uncle he owns a heavy equipment business, and they were having their convention in Las Vegas, which Las Vegas does have lots of conventions. So
yeah.
But I mean, being filmed at a gambling table.
I just call it reading the room. You know, you have the right to do all these things, but you want to read the room and just kind of, you know, see what you're up to. Not that I'm perfect. Where is Maggie's family? We have not heard anything from Maggie's family. Not a word. Have you?
No. And we have reached out. We have attempted to find we have a contact with the sorority sister who is angry and we're hoping that she will speak out, but no, we have not heard anything. And I think the silence speaks volumes.
Yeah. Poor things. I mean, that's just
right. Like, why they haven't come out in support, you know, or crucifying Alex. They just haven't said anything, but I think the silence speaks a lot.
Yeah. Yes, it does. So we're just sort of sitting around here now, waiting to see if anybody comes up with 7 million.
Yep. I think it's going to be, okay, it's either going to happen before Christmas or no, it's not. No.
Because you think, why would you go to all that trouble and just wait till after Christmas? Like, you're either going to come
you're either going to come home before Christmas. But, you know, we still have the writ of habeas corpus, which were filed by Alex's attorneys, that is still pending. So we don't know what will happen with that. They could be successful on that. I mean, he has really smart attorneys that could, you know, work that in another direction.
You know, your life can change like in the blink of an eye, right? Like, it's just amazing to me how sometimes from nothing you've done, Maggie's parents, and nothing they've done, and then sometimes you make choices and things, you know, like dominoes.
It's actually crazy to me to think, like, you know, you look back at people's pictures. I've looked at all of their social media pictures. I've run into them at games several times at South Carolina, and I'm like, how much their lives have changed. I mean, he's sitting in jail. Buster's lost a mother, a son. There's also, you know, multiple people.
His brother. I mean,
the blink of an eye with Mallory Beach. I mean, one bad decision changed the course of multiple young adults' lives. Not to mention Stephen Smith. I mean, there's still no real, we don't know if there's any correlation. I mean, we know their case has been reopened, but there's that.
When are we going to ever hear about that? Like, how long is this going to take? I'm just so curious about that.
Well, it's really weird. So Maggie and Paul have been dead now for 6 months.
Right.
The reporter that we interviewed yesterday, I was like, is this normal? Like, SLED has not released any information. Like, they have been so tight-lipped. And he was like, no, this is like very unusual. Like, it's crazy that they have been so
right. Nothing.
Like, we've not even gotten a press conference. Nothing. But they've not even come out to say, okay, this isn't a cold case. We're working on it. We have solid leads, but you just have to be patient. They haven't even said anything.
Which either means it's a cold case or they are really working hard. And maybe they're really working hard and it's a cold case. But when that murder happened, they said clearly we're going to reopen the Smith case. So there had to be something there. I just think, what are they doing? I don't know.
No, I mean, like, and they said they were reopening it based on information, but we still haven't found out what that information is. I mean, they did release, and they released such little information. Like, we have a highly redacted report that basically blacks out everything from the death of Maggie and Paul.
Right.
It doesn't say anything. We have two 911 calls that are partially redacted. The one from when Alec called the police for Maggie and Paul.
Right.
And then we have the Gloria Satterfield 911 tape. We just have such little information from law enforcement that it's unusual, in my opinion.
That Gloria Satterfield 911 call is, I mean, it kind of blew my mind. And the reason I say that, and I've told you this, is that my husband had like a medical emergency, right? A few months ago. I mean, I called 911. They took him. He went in a helicopter. I mean, it was bad times around here. I've never made a 911 call before, like in an emergency. I mean, I call to like report somebody speeding or, maybe they're drunk. That's why my children call me Karen. But I was panicked, and I'd love to go back and hear myself. So I guess I have this, you can't, people say, well, you don't know what you would do till it happens. Well, it happened to me. So I do know how you feel. And listening to these 911 calls, particularly Gloria Satterfield's, it's like, well, she fell up the stairs. There's 9 stairs. Oh, well, did you stop the bleeding? Well, I haven't tried. I mean, it was like, what the hell are you talking about?
So we just discussed this today because I feel the exact same way as you. Like, you talk about someone bleeding out their ear. To me, someone's bleeding out their ear, I'm going to freak out. We had a medical emergency myself with a few years ago, my daughter.
Ear blood is bad.
Ear blood is bad. But my daughter, we were at a pool. My daughter was playing with this, like, one of those swim belts that you could tie around your waist. And they were trying to see how far they could go. And she turned around and it released and it hit her here. And there was so much blood. And I literally got on the ground and said, I don't want to pass out. My friend's here. So I'm going to get on the ground before I call 911. And
right.
Like very panicked, and we held it together. We got her there, but I was extremely panicked. So I see blood coming out someone's ear. I'm going to be like, holy crap, there's blood coming out of someone's ear. I've never even seen that. So I would have been freaking out. But then we've received other people who, because they felt like we were critical on our podcast about, oh, well, different people react in different ways. And, it was, even Matt said, you can't really say, other people were very defensive. Like, they were calm. They were trying to attend to her. And I did think everyone was being short with each other. I thought the 911 operator, although she did a great job of keeping them on the phone, I also felt like she was kind of like, I'll give it right back to you.
Which my 911 operator was awesome. But I feel like whenever there's like a crime and you're listening to these 911 operators, you're like, you're terrible. I mean, it's just like, she was like, well, that's not going to mess them up. I'm like, oh my God, you're fighting with the person on the phone.
But I mean, that is really like, that was solid advice. She was saying me asking you these questions,
right?
Not going to prevent it's not slowing the ambulance down. It's not like I'm stopping the ambulance. I'm just keeping you on the phone engaged.
Right. But then Maggie said, well, can I go so I can go attend to her? And she was like, well, are you on a cell phone or like, what are you on, like some home phone? I mean, I
know that was.
You can walk with a cell phone. News break.
But I think she was frustrated. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she did seem really short and annoyed. People made a big deal of the fact that she didn't know Gloria's age, but I don't know your age. I barely know my own kid's age, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's.
I'm not gonna make a big deal about that.
No, but then when Paul said, or she said, she tried to push me. She told me to, like, they were acting like she wasn't talking. She was mumbling, but then she had like fell because she told him to like turn her loose.
Yeah, he dropped her. I mean, it did sound like possibly Paul dropped her head. Maybe he was holding her and he dropped her. I mean, the whole call was unusual. And then we questioned who was this guy who he says the fella's going to meet you. Who is this other person? Because I feel like that person is the person who could give the most information. Now, Manny Matney says that she has a source that says it was another employee.
Oh.
We do know at the time that they had caretakers at their property, as they did throughout, even when Maggie and Paul were murdered. But
right.
I don't know if this was an employee or if this was Paul, referring to himself in the third person. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't think so.
I think it was somebody else there, and I think that somebody else there could give a lot of information.
Uh-huh. Well, and they probably have.
Yeah.
And we ain't never going to find out about it.
Maybe we will, though, because her death investigation has been reopened.
I hope we do. I hope we do. These people falling down and
yeah,
bad times.
Bad times.
Bad times. And then you do a settlement for the family, and then you steal that money. I mean,
yeah,
that's like pretty low. That's like the people that fake cancer to get money. I mean,
somebody who worked in their home for 20 plus years who helped
right.
our children, that is literally the lowest of the low. Like if you were going to try to steal money from that takes a special person.
Yeah. So Erica just said, Maggie said she fell up the steps. Alec had said she fell down and tripped over the dogs.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that discrepancy was on record.
Yeah. No. So she said she fell up and fell down. I don't know what I've seen that too. There was a point on the 911 that she sounded like maybe she was possibly putting dogs up, but you did not hear dogs barking. I mean, my dog barks all the time. So
yeah. Well, I don't think that part would be weird. It's just, it seems like you would have mentioned that in the phone call.
Yeah, what happened? Like they just
right
down the steps.
Right.
Did not talk about the trip over. Now there's been a lot of rumors about Paul pushed her down the stairs. The two people who probably can confirm that are no longer here. Or three people. Gloria's dead. Paul's dead. Maggie's dead.
And was Alec at home at the time?
That I do not believe so. We think there was probably the only person alive in this scenario is this third person who was the fella who was going to meet the EMS.
Right. At the gate. Right.
So I think that's the only person who could potentially have answers because I think the other three people are no longer with us.
Well, thank you for the update. It's always a pleasure. And I look forward to Saturday morning. Seton will be doing a supporter only Q&A session, so if you have all these questions in your head, we're going to corner Seton for the answers.
Corner me.
And tune in to her latest podcast. So tell us again what the next podcast is. That sounds so exciting. The professor.
Yes, we had a professor from Utica University. She specializes in money laundering and teaches this whole course. So we kind of dive deep with her to get some more questions just about money. So it's kind of like an academic nerd thing. I don't know if it's for everybody.
Oh, but it's so interesting.
No, it's so interesting. Like just what regulations banks have, how you it's going to be. I found it really fascinating.
Oh, I know. I'm super like, ooh, this could be a how-to guide.
No, it's going to be how-to and what.
No.
No. Well, it's funny. My last question, everyone has to tune in. My last question is like, do you watch Ozark?
Oh, I haven't seen Ozark.
Oh my God.
I'm in the middle of Grey's Anatomy. I'm in season 6 for the first time. I mean, I can't. I've got all these. My husband has been watching all those shows. I mean, and he stays up till like 2 a.m. when something comes out.
I have a major heart for Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman is in it?
Yes, he's the lead character, and he's so good.
Wasn't he in Family Ties?
He was in one of those.
He was Mallory's boyfriend.
What? No, he was.
Did I just make that up?
You might have. He's in one of those shows.
You might have. You might have. So Saturday morning, see you. Look forward to it. Have fun at your concert tomorrow night. Who are you going to see?
My husband has told me we're going to this concert. I don't know I'm seeing.
We'll find out about that later.
Well, I'll tell you Saturday.
Okay. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.